Welcome back, Love Drip family. I'm once again your humble host, Professor Drip of the Love Drip podcast and the author of Love Drip Mastery of Love. And welcome to you new subscribers. Welcome to the Love Drip channel, the one and only channel on YouTube where we talk about love from a man's point of view. And not only love from a man's point of view, but the modern reality, the modern experience, the modern notion and idea of love in millennial context. So what are we talking about today? How to turn a trap into a chess move when it comes to falling in love. So this wasn't my friend this time, but I heard a story from a friend about one of his associates, a gentleman who had fallen in love. And long story short, a week after he had fallen in love with a woman that he had been seeing for a couple years, he had fallen in love with her, he found out he was a side piece. And yes, I said it correctly, a side piece, not the side piece. He wasn't even on the starting team. He wasn't even on the bench. He was a third string. And he found out he was a third string side piece to the woman he fell in love with. And he decided that he was still in love. He was in love so deep that he couldn't get out. Now you ask me, did this gentleman fall into love or did he fall into a trap? So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about how to turn a trap into a chess move when it comes to falling in love. First of all, falling in love. This term, and not to beat up on you who are new to love, who are in your puppy love phase. Hey, that's the phase of great infatuation, great bewilderment when it comes to love, great enthusiasm, as we all should have. But let's be honest. When it comes to this phrase, falling in love, this has been a phrase that has been used as far back as I can understand or have read, as far back as the 1500s. And we understand that this is a figure of speech. It's a metaphorical expression where falling is used as a term to go into a sudden movement into or a vulnerable state, or to find yourself into a certain state of things like falling ill, falling asleep, falling behind, falling into a trap. And this phrase has been coupled with falling in love. Now, let me ask you something. Let's be honest with me, Love Drip family. When's the last time you fell into something? When's the last time you fell into a hole in the ground? When's the last time you fell into when's the last time you fell down the stairs? When's the last time you fell over a stick that was laying in the middle of the road? When's the last time you fell into a puddle that was right in front of you? And then let me ask you this. If you saw that the hole, the stick, the puddle, the stairs was there, did you not use any discretionary caution as you approached this obstacle? Or is it that when it comes to love, this notion is promoting the idea that we blindly fall, that we suddenly find ourselves in this state, that we suddenly end up in love? And if it's anything like my friend's associate, he didn't fall into love. Unfortunately, he fell into a trap. And so when we look at this falling in love, this figure of speech, which I'm not opposed to particularly, but when we look at it and compare it to practical love meaning the love that is based on what you do, not just how you feel, even more so what you do despite how you feel for the greater good of that which you apply love to. Practical love makes the concept of falling in love purely an emotional concept that has been used very broadly, especially in our modern dating experience. And I would like to ask, when is the last time you fell into something that you possibly were not ready for? You see, the modern paradox is that everyone is looking for love and does not know exactly what love is. Better yet, how to fall into it. That's because there has been no reevaluation of this falling in love concept based on my particular opinion. There has been no investigation, reevaluation into what happens when we find love, or what happens when we clearly define what love is. But according to Love Drip Mastery of Love, aphorism 103, you do not find love, you build it. You do not fall in love, you climb to it. So we find that where falling in love may be a figure of speech that is based on an emotional concept, a feeling of falling, practical love shows us that building love, climbing to love, may be a practical outcome of the love in which we seek. So, Professor Drip, how do we change this coincidence? How do we make falling in love a practical decision? Well, the great Malcolm X said it himself. If you don't stand for something, you'll what? Fall for anything. A man and also a woman who does not stand for something will fall for anything. So there's a solution when we talk about practical love. Practical love being love that you do, not just love that you feel, love that you do despite how you feel for the greater good of that in which you apply this love to. There is a practical solution when it comes to falling in love and how you can turn possibly a trap into the best chess move you've ever made. The practical solution is before you fall into love, make sure there is something that you stand for love in. Make sure there is at least one definition. Make sure there's one definition, one concept, one principle of love, and ask yourself if that is something you can fall into. Define love as sacrifice. Define love practically as selflessness. Define love as courage. Define love as loyalty. Define love as reciprocity. Define love as benevolent concern. And with that concept or definition, ask yourself, is it as easy to fall into this practice than it is to fall into a feeling? Is it easy to fall into sacrifice? Is it easy to fall into selflessness? Is it easy to fall into loyalty? Is it easy to fall into service? Is it easy to fall into something that is defined in this way practically? And I'll be honest with you, now falling in love becomes the practice of love. And ironically, the practice of this love can fall right into your hands and it can fall right into your lap. And now, what do you do with the love that you seek? The difference is simply a practical one. Falling in love is an emotional concept, and nothing against those who have fallen in love and are still in love. Nothing against the concept in its entirety. I hope not to antagonize the concept, especially to you newbies in love or those of you in puppy love. But we must understand that there's a difference between the feeling of falling in love and the practice of love itself, which is the element of practical love. And this is the love that we have a choice to do. We have a choice to fall, a choice to climb. We have a choice to find, a choice to seek. And once that love falls into our hands, we have a choice to do, and a choice to do despite how we feel. Now that's the mastery of love. Remember, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Now I have to ask you again, have you ever fallen? When's the last time you've fallen? When's the last time you've fallen perhaps in a puddle that was deeper than you expected? Certainly, it wouldn't be a coincidence if you decided to dive in, right? But some of us feel differently about this practice of love. Some of us rather fall. Some of us rather happen into something without the work, without the climb, without the building. Some of us enjoy the feeling of falling. That's what inspires us. But let me subscribe to you. Enjoy the feeling of building. Enjoy the feeling of climbing. Because if you know how to climb and you know how to build, no matter how far you fall, you can always get back up. No matter what may happen, you can always build again. And if the tools of love, loyalty, sacrifice, selflessness, courage, service, if they so happen to fall in your hands, you then can produce the love that you seek. Maybe that's why love is more like chess than it is checkers. So the next time you find yourself ready to fall in love, nothing against the phrase, but question, what is it that you're really falling into? And do you have the tools to practice this element of love, to build something, to climb to something greater, not only for the greater good of you, but for the greater good of others that you say that you love? So can you turn a possible trap or a bad move into a next move? Can you turn your next move into your best move? Well, this is why they say, let love with the solemn rain drip heavy its noble ideal. Welcome to all, yet understood by few, that love never drips too hard. And guess what? Make sure you put on your best shoes for this journey as we talk about practical love as we go into the new year, because the puddle that we're about to step into might be deeper than anyone could have ever expected. But we're ready for it because we know no matter how deep the puddle goes, love never drips too hard. Till next time. Peace.